Hey, good morning or afternoon or evening. Welcome to a special edition of the Dr. Zero Trust podcast, YouTube thing, whatever. I always talk about this buy the breach methodology for making money in the stock market. And a lot of times people kind of play it off and blah, 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 whatever. The simple fact of the matter is the market does not give a fuck about a breach. And I'm going to prove it to you. And if you like making money for doing nothing and you want to capitalize on where you should capitalize, because Lord knows the CEOs of a lot of these companies are making crazy money and you should be making it too, because cyberflation is a real thing. Go look up my research on that. Let's just run through one example. And I'm putting together a report I'm going to put out before the end of the year about the buy the breach sort of portfolio. And you guys can look at that on your own. But let's run through just one example. And I want folks to really understand how much this plays. So I was at the gym doing my gym thing, and I saw on CNBC that Nucor, Nucor, their earnings are up. Like, it's amazing. The company's kicking ass and taking names. Well, immediately for me, I go, wait a minute. Nucor had a breach. Well, not one breach. They had multiple breaches. Well, wasn't it material in nature and wasn't it reported to the SEC and et cetera, et cetera? So let's run through some of the analysis on this whole Nucor thing, and I'll show you just how much money you could have made if you just followed the buy the breach thing. And you should, because Lord knows they're going to pass the stuff off to their shareholders and stock. And guess what? The price of the stuff that they make has gone up because they pass that cost on to us. So here, let's look at this. Now, this is how incredibly difficult it is to find this stuff. If you're, willing to take 10 seconds to do the research, you go into Google and you'll type in Nucor breach, right? There you go. Nucor has experienced at least 2 recent distinct data breaches that we know of, is what it ought to say. The first was a major 2025 cyber attack that temporarily halted production after a third party gained access to its IT systems and exfiltrated limited data. The second, or the older one, was in 2023, which affected employee data, which is a different type of data, which resulted in a class action lawsuit that provided credit monitoring service to the infected individuals. For awesome. Hooray. Yes. So 2025 cyber attack. Nucor detected unauthorized third-party access to its IT systems in May of 2025, not too long ago. Response, the company took precautionary measures. How can something be precautionary when it's already happened? Anyway, including temporary shutting down some production operations and taking affected systems offline. Data, Nucor later confirmed that threat actors did exfiltrate a limited amount of data. And current status, Nucor has since restored operations and, quote, believes the threat actor has been removed from its network. It has notified federal law enforcement and is working with external experts. Hooray, huzzah. 2023 incident. A data breach occurred between May and June of 2023, which affected employees, right? So think about this. Think about the timeline of this. This first thing happened in 2023 that affected their corporate systems, employees, whatever else. 2025, the same sort of thing happens, but this time it's the production system. You think that there was likely backdoors installed and that the bad guys came back and then they went from employee stuff that might have gotten locked down to non-employee stuff, production that was more valuable. The breach involved the exfiltration of names, bank account numbers, routing numbers, and other sensitive information, stuff that's been pwned 600 times over. Legal action, a class action lawsuit was filed, alleging that Nucor's negligent cybersecurity practices led to the breach. Settlement, Nucor agreed to a settlement to resolve the lawsuit, which provided benefits like credit monitoring. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so a little bit further into this, let's talk about this. So steelmaker Nucor restores operations, confirms limited shenge. So this is from Cybersecurity Dive. This is June of 2025. Nucor restores operations, confirms limited data breach. Okay, cool, whatever. Nucor, the leading steel manufacturer in the U.S., said it has restored operations following a hack in May that compromised a limited amount of information. The company, which produces roughly a quarter of America's raw steel, that's a fuckload, believes it has evicted the hackers from its systems. I love how it says believes. Yeah. And does not expect the incident to have a material impact on its financial performance operations, and a filing with the SEC, which I have that filing. Nucor said the incident temporarily limited its ability to access certain functions in some of its facilities. Manufacturer work with external forensic experts to investigate and recover from the attack. During the response, the company temporarily took its systems offline. I guess that's the precautionary side. Okay. And restored data from backup files. Good that they had that, according to the filing. The company has worked with outside experts to reinforce its IT systems to prevent a future attack. Well, good that they did that after the 2025 thing, because what did they do after the 2023? The Charlotte, North Carolina-based company said last week that it expected to report earnings between $2.55 and $2.65 a share in the second fiscal quarter, which ends July 5th. the company, quote, expects earnings to increase across all three of its operating segments, with the biggest rise in the steel mills business due to higher average selling prices across its sheet and plate mills. Nucor did not disclose any specific information about the filing or financial impact of the May cyber attack. Okay, so again, now that was the 2025 one. Well, let's think about the 2023 side of it, and we'll look at that in the analysis here as well. But notice that it was happened. SEC filings occurred. This thing makes a quarter of the steel in the United States. Like, this is a big time thing. And you also can follow the trend of they got hit in 2023, customer side, probably employee, clicking links, whatever. 2025, it goes to production side, which is more valuable. I hate to break it to employees, but we are not the most valuable thing at companies, no matter what they tell us. So there you go. Okay, so this is one of many tools. There's plenty of them out there. And again, let me caveat this with I am not a Series 7 licensed person. I'm not really that smart. I probably don't know what the hell I'm doing. Don't listen to me, but listen to me. And let's just run through some analysis on this stuff. Okay, this is Nucor. We're going to look at 2023, right? In 2023, they had a breach. You can see right there, May 19th. Let's see if we can zoom in a bit. All right, so there's May 19th where they had their breach, which was right before that. And you can see that there's a dip. So March down. And you'll notice that that's at 133. Okay, now going forward, things are doing great. Looks like maybe when the new administration came in or something, 2024, it's up. Now, here we are in 2025 again. Notice the dip. All right, there's 2024. Here we go, blippity blippity, coming up. And here we are getting up into May. Guess what? There's June, right? And then see the recovery that happens here? Notice it goes from a low of 104 all the way up to 144. Okay. So if you had bought this back in 2023, okay, so let's do a little bit of, further analysis here. And again, just think about this from the mathematics perspective. So let's go back to when their kind of breach was happening. And the funny thing to me is you can pretty much look at a company's stock ticker tracker, whatever system you use, and follow along and see where the breach happened and then the recovery. But let's just say that they hit 114 in 2023, kind of around the time that was going down. Then there's the recovery, right? Goes up to 170, which is nice. And then the high point that they had was way back over here in 2024, 206. And now we're talking about the dip that happened in this time around, which is, there's May, etc. But you can pretty much plot this out as far as where bad things occurred and then note the recovery. So, there you have 97 all the way up to right now where it's pretty much accurate to 150. So do the math real quick on that and just say, okay, well, if I had done buy the breach in 2023 and I had bought it at like $100, watch it go up to 204 and then sell. And like, it's a real simple kind of formula of whenever you've bought it at, when it doubles, then just cash out half of what you have and let the rest ride. You would have made a pretty good return if you put $1,000 in there or something, or 10 or whatever, and then follow it along again. And then you see this happen. So the point that I'm trying to make is two things. One, the market doesn't give a shit about a breach. Look at the data on this, and I could analyze 1,000 firms. It would be the same trend on every single one of them. Like, I've done it. I've written books about it. Go read the book. But you'll see that there's the growth, there's the dip when the bad thing happens, there's the recovery, and then there's usually the other incident, and then you follow that along the lines. So there's Nucor. Their stock is up, doing really well. Here's the actual earning call thing that they had coming up today. Earning call transcript, Nucor 2025, strong earnings beat, stock rises. Great for them. Nucor's Q3 EPS, there's their earnings per share. It's up 18.47%. Revenue's $8 billion. Stock price has gone up about 6%. Strong performance in the data center construction, et cetera, et cetera. So they're doing really, really well is the point. Now, what we should take away from this is that these are clear market trends. These are indicators. They might as well be written in stone, like cuneiform, like someone chiseled them into a rock. But this is what happens. This is what occurs. if you just follow along, you can make money on this. Now, I'll throw you one more little spiral here that would really increase your portfolio. And this is something that I work on doing. And again, I'm not a stock advisor. I'm not Series 7. I'm not licensed, all those other things, but I'm just providing some thinking. Put your money and follow the breach sort of methodology, right? When you double up, take the money that you double up, go put it into crypto, into Ethereum or Bitcoin. I prefer Ethereum, and then stake your Ethereum, which has a lot better return than any bank that you'll get to or whatever else, and let that ride. And so then you're making money on the buy the breach methodology, which is a pretty simple way to double up what you got. Plus, you're staking crypto, where crypto grows exponentially larger. It also falls, but it grows exponentially larger than the stock market. And now that you can stake crypto, you're getting a 15 or sometimes 20 something X return, APY, on the money that you're putting into that investment inside of the crypto market, Coinbase, Binance, whichever one. Again, like, this is just my thoughts. This is the analysis. I believe in data. I believe in mathematics, those types of things. I'm working on the report, which will come out soon, which you're going to have to pay for to get, because I'll donate that money to veterans charities. But here you go. Like, just look at the numbers, look at the data, follow the methodology. You won't go wrong. But if you're really interested, you could actually go into Perplexity or ChatGPT or any one of these AI coding things, write your own little bot to go off and mine Edgar SEC database. Anytime some company posts a material breach, start the ticker, follow the stuff that's in the book, do your thing, make your cash. It works. Like, it's just that simple. So there you go. Like, don't say that Dr. Zero Trust never gave you nothing. I'm giving you a way to make money off of failure, and failure in this space is essentially guaranteed. So call it an essential return on your investment guarantee or something along those lines. But there you go. I'm not wrong. Look at Nucor as an example.